What is your most private confession? Something that would have you fired or ostracized by friends and family if they found out? Mine in comments. I have a large, very close group of friends. 2 summers ago on a camping trip, my best friend's brother, good friend of everyone, came into the car that I was sleeping in, figured I was passed out drunk, and undid my pants shirt and played with me for a while. Fingered me, jerked off while playing with me and stuff. I was awake the whole time. I didn't tell anyone. It was freaking hot. If you ever need a couch to crash on. I pee in my boss's pickle jar she kept for making herself sandwiches at lunch. The woman was a vindictive bee who intentionally made her subordinate's life a living heck in an attempt to make herself feel important. After I contacted HR to file a complaint, she zeroed in on me and began building a case to have me terminated. I worked as a wireless sales rep in a company-owned store for one of the 2 largest telecoms. My market was non-union and my state was an at-will employer, so there was not a dang thing I could do to protect myself. The 3 months it took for her to get me fired gave me plenty of time to replace most of the pickle juice with my own pee. She would eat her sandwich while directing comments at me about how tough the job market is and smirk. She never did understand why I just smiled back at her. That's freaking disgusting. Tell me more. I didn't actually graduate from college. I forged my transcripts to get into my job now and had my old school records sealed so they can't not be verified. I am pretty sure it will be found out eventually. I fricked my cousin. She lives the other side of the Atlantic and hadn't seen her since she was 12. She then come to visit when she's 18. And crap, couldn't resist. I'd just broken up with a longtime GF and I guess I was desperate. It felt pretty dang good though. Maybe you should do it again, just to teach them a lesson. I was coerced into lying about physical shaming when I was 5, during a very messy and emotional divorce. My father went to prison for physical shaming and died there. I have never told a soul until now. I am certainly going to heck. Well, if there is one. You were 5, it's not like you were an adult able to make conscious decisions. I understand you feel terrible, but the person who made you do this is to blame. Reminds me of that Louis C.K. bit about trying to find a place to masturbate. She's got her mother staying with us, too, in the guest room, and I'm on the streets now. I got nowhere to go. Like, now I know when I see a guy on the West Side Highway jerking off in plain daylight. That's not a homeless guy. That's a married man right there. He's got nowhere to go. Hello, it's freaking hot outside. About 5 years ago I decided to go meet a friend one afternoon for tacos and beer at a border town in Mexico. You can park in the States and walk across. Well, my friend didn't make it, so I'm having another beer when an attractive woman comes and sits next to me with shots of tequila. Next thing you know, I'm drunk and she's looking pretty good. Her English is poor, but I know enough Spanish to get by. She asks me if I want to go upstairs, small motel outside, and by this time I'm up for anything. I asked how much and she said $100. I said no and told her I only had about $30 while showing my wallet. She looks and says okay, hands me a condom and we walk into the room. I end up banging her for about 45 minutes and when she went to shower I got dressed and hauled butt. I got through the border to my car right before it closed. I make it about 2 miles when I'm pulled over by highway patrol. I didn't even try the field sobriety test and said frick it, take me to jail. I blew a .17 in the machine so I knew I was done. Anyway, it's not that crazy, but I'm definitely not proud of it. TLDR. Went to Mexico. Fricked a H for $30. Left and got a DUI. This just sounds like some bad decisions. Don't beat yourself up over any of it. I wouldn't be surprised if the same circumstances happen to about 75% of people I know. And I'm not white trash or anything. I eat my CM every single time I fap. I often worry that one of my housemates will notice I don't keep tissues toilet roll in my room, and if the subject of taste comes up I have to be really careful I don't give myself away by my expression, or by nodding or something, even though I'm pretty sure no one would guess. You'd think they'd be tipped off by the mass consumption of pineapple juice. I can only get off to debauch pee. The more realistic the better. I was violated 3 years ago. That in itself is a big secret I don't understand myself. My boyfriend would dump me and kick me out in an instant if he knew I smoke weed every day. He is very against it. I despise being female. I hate everything about my body and about what's expected of me to be a proper woman. I feel deeply out of place with myself. I want desperately to be male, but I'm terrified of how I'd be judged and of the violence that I've seen transgendered people subjected to. If friends or family found out that I was a crossdresser, even though completely hetero, 90% would have nothing more to do with me, and that includes friends who are gay or family members who have accepted gay in the family. I know. I tested the waters. So freaking sad. I used to work at a grocery store. I was a hard worker. I was quick. I was smart. I could fulfill every role. I worked OT. I did everything a manager could ask, and I did over expectations. At the 4-year mark after ending college, I asked for a full-time position. I was already working 40 hours a week. I just wanted benefits. I was denied. I never got a real raise. 10 cents once a year maybe. I started stealing. I stole food. I stole cash. I was in charge of the safe on 3 out of 7 days a week. I probably obtained $1,000 in 6 months. I don't feel bad. I was so good I never got caught. I didn't feel bad. You have a productive, cooperative, valuable employee. Treat him as such. This was a long time ago. I now have a great job and I'd never steal from my employer. When I was in my early teens, I went through a period wherein I tried repeatedly to see my sister naked and fantasized about having some sort of physical dalliance with her. I have always felt since then that there must be something very wrong with me. I'm convinced that most of the time anyone says anything positive about me, they are probably being insincere about it. This includes "you're good at your job," "looking forward to seeing you," "you try your best," "I have faith in you," and "I love you." Can't be bothered with a throwaway, but the only 2 people I know who know me on Reddit won't read this anyway, and I can delete it eventually, so screw it. Don't worry too much. I'm the same way. I pretty much take anything anyone says to me as just them being polite. I rarely take any kind of compliment as if it were actually one. You're not alone on this. I have a very low libido, and as a result, I have pretty much zero interest in fricking. I have a hard time forming relationships because most people expect fricking to be a major factor. I'm fine with pleasant conversation, physical contact, going out for dinner and a movie, and most other things, but fricking is just boring for me. Good Christ. It's moist and uncomfortably intimate and just really undignified when people start shouting and moaning, and what the heck is this? Seriously. Pee is hilarious to me. Sometimes I wonder if I'm from a different planet, you and me both. I love my sister-in-law, my wife's sister, and I miss her a lot. It crept up on me. I don't want a relationship, but I do wish she didn't live so far away. I regularly use a strap-on on my husband and love watching men do dirty things to themselves. I could never tell anyone, not even my kinkiest friends. I initiated it when we got together over 10 years ago and it has progressed. And I like watching men going solo, if you know what I mean. Wink wink nudge nudge. Sounds like your kinkiest friends aren't that kinky. Alternatively, I would like to give you a digital high five. I lost my virginity to a call girl a few months ago. My mom calls me like a month later and she asks, "We just got your bank statements. You've drawn $200 on X date and $200 more on Y date. What's going on?" Had to make a bull's story, but it worked. If my parents knew, they would disown me. Probably even chop my dong off and throw it into a river or something. But frick it, I wanted to experience fricking, and I finally did. Voila. My girlfriend and I have incredibly brutal fricking, punching, kicking, spitting, anal, clit slapping, belt whipping, clubbing, hair dragging fricking. Sometimes we invite other people. Yeah, I'm not exactly telling my friends and family all about that crap. I hope this is going to get buried, but I jerk off in my crush's toilet every time I go to her house. She arouses me a lot, we cuddle and stuff, but I'm in the friend zone, so I blow my load in her toilet. I'm into bondage. Took me years to come to terms with this, even more to get off while being tied up and not feel like a freak. Afraid if anyone knows they will look at me like I'm the worst person in the world and never talk to me again. I love bondage. I don't think that is a big deal. You should join FetLife once you realize how many other people are into bondage. You won't feel so alone. I've wanted kids so bad ever since I realized my parents were mentally, physically, and emotionally abusive all throughout my childhood. I wanted the chance to do it right and give my kids the childhood and opportunities I never had. Found out a few years ago that I have a medical condition that makes it virtually impossible to conceive, and last month my older sister died in childbirth from the same disease. Hubby and I still haven't decided whether or not to start trying, but it probably won't go the way we want. Adopt or at least try being foster parents. Kids are only little cute babies for 12 months at most. Most of the raising stuff and being a good parent lasts 30 years. In most places becoming a foster parent is quite easy and they are always needed. A few years ago I had a job as an accounting manager. I was pretty young for the relatively high-ranking position. We're talking 20 years old here. It was my first time living away from my parents. I had been to some college but didn't have the motivation to try hard, so I failed a good portion of my classes. I needed to pay my rent 1 month and had no money at all. Rather than ask my parents for help, I decided it would be an okay idea to run my debit card through the credit card processor with a few $100 refund on it. It worked. I had cash in my bank. At first, this was to be a one-time thing. Then I got to where I saw things I wanted and so I kept doing it to buy these things. This went on for about a year when one day I was called into the GM office. With the GM there were 2 police officers. I was terrified. They took my information, told me they would be in contact and was escorted from the building. Was not arrested or anything, much to my relief. Later that day I worked up enough courage to call my dad and tell him what was going on. I told him I was being investigated, but not for how much. He assumed a few $100s. It was closer to $30,000. My parents hired a lawyer and it was shortly after that he informed my parents the real amount that I stole. They took it pretty well in retrospect. To get to the point of the story, the lawyer made a deal to where I could pay less and get a suspended sentence or something along those lines. Or pay it all and get a deferred sentence and the record gets sealed after 5 years. I can't remember the full details on the first option, but my parents took a loan out against their house and paid the full amount. As long as I don't break the law for 5 years, it's almost like it never happened. I feel absolutely terrible about it. Nobody knows other than my parents. I think my brother knows some of what happened, but no details. I definitely never told him. I'm afraid to tell any of my friends about it out of fear of being disowned. I get nervous every time I hear a siren because I think they're coming to arrest me, even though I've done nothing wrong since then. I pay my parents a large portion of my paycheck every month and live with them right now. It's pretty well killed my self-esteem and set me back a lot of years on any of my future plans. I am glad I got that off my chest though. Felt good to talk about it for once. TLDR. Stole money from job. Parents paid back money. Feel like crap about it. Have told no one. As much as I complain about how corporations and the government and media are all one thing controlling everyone, you've heard this crap before on our politics. If I was rich and in their position I'd do the same thing. This is why real change, as opposed to simply playing musical chairs, is so freaking hard. Frick, I wish I had a job where I could get away with that. My worst secret is probably that I'm bi-curious and my family would just kill me if I ever went out with another girl. I'm approached by really nice girls so often too, but I can't even imagine how badly my mom would react if she ever found out. I'm coming to grips to the fact that I'm a bad person. I'm a liar, and a good one at that. I've exaggerated to get attention, as well as just flat out lied for no reason. It'll be little things. I'll tell somebody I'm painting when I'm just on the computer, or just flat out lie to people about what I did that week, tweaking details and such. It's really bad and I can't seem to stop. Despite browsing Gonywild often for fapping material, I think that most people who post actual content they have self-esteem issues and really only do it for attention and not an actual desire to show themselves naked to strangers. I fricked my dad's wife a lot. He never found out. I have fricked lots of H during my marriage. I fricked my sister when we were 14/15. I feel sick. My so and I have been together for almost 10 years and I love him very much. But late last year I was going through a period of unhappiness with the relationship. It felt like he didn't care about me as much anymore, and he very rarely wanted to frick. In fact, for the whole month of October he didn't touch me once. So, of course, I turned to the internet for companionship. I met lots of guys who made me feel better about myself and momentarily happy. It became an addiction. I was foolish enough to decide to stay in contact with 2 of them, and I will admit, they have seen all of me via webcam. My relationship has drastically improved since then and I'm very happy with my so, but I still have this dark secret. There would be no chance of understanding or forgiveness if my so found out, or any of my family for that matter. I feel sick after writing this. Your so was jerking off at work. That's why he wasn't fricking you. See the original post. You two really need better communication. Pretty sure I've taken a pee every single time I've been in any shower for about the last 10 years. Sometimes I'll even realize I need to pee, but wait until I get into the shower to do it. When I was young I was pretty good at manipulating people. Long story short, I manipulated my friend into dry humping his sister. I did the same, on multiple occasions. I feel horrible about it now, knowing I did that and wondering about the possible psychological implications on her bothers me pretty much every day. I used to hurt animals and kill bugs. It still makes me feel sick to know I did this as a kid. I had a fricked up childhood and I think that was my outlet before I started hurting myself. I would rather have everyone know I used to hurt myself than helpless innocent creatures. Well, let's see. 1. My dong doesn't work. It is also tiny. 2. I have a boatload of fetishes, ranging from mild dominatrix things to toenails. 3. I smoke pot. Not that bad. 4. I am extremely physically attracted to pretty much all of my female friends, none of whom would touch me. 5. If my parents wouldn't be so upset about it, I'd live my life as a shut-in. 6. I used to be a top student. Now I'm failing out of university. I'm one of the millions of kids who were smart as a kid but became lazy because of it. I am lazy to the point that I will often leave piles of garbage and dishes in my room. It smells disgusting. 7. While I have no intention of ever doing it, nor will I ever come close to trying it, I have no objection to fricking a minor. 8. I'm probably not going to ever frick anyone other than prostitutes. 9. While I am very young, I am inflexible to the point that I can't even come close to crossing my legs. You know, the sitting down thing. 10. I hate about 90% of my friends, and for the rest, I'd still rather be by myself than spend time with 9% of my other friends. I stay friends with them because it's wrong not to have friends. Feels good to say, I have become a very good liar because of these secrets, and thanks to my lying, I am not only very well liked by most people, I live a very happy lifestyle. It will not last. Jizzed on my MacBook and had to pay $600 to get the trackpad and motherboard replaced. Told everyone I spilt a spoon's worth of milk from my cereal. Take a tip from the other 50 people in this thread and eat your jizz next time. When I was 18, my friends and I stole between $30,000 and $50,000, our estimates, looking back, from a movie theater at which we worked. In a month or more ago there was a picture on Reddit of this dude who never felt right, and started making the transition to a woman. She turned into a pretty hot chick. Then, in her AMA, I found out she still had a dong. A recurring question in my head, would I frick her? Even though she had a dong I didn't know the answer, and it frickin' scared me. Fast forward to a week later, and I'm still tossing around the question. That night, I go to rub one out, and I'm kinda bored with the usual pee. Bring on the trannies. The first video on the site, xnxx.com, looked kinda hot. So, yeah, I freaking jerked off to tranny pee. When my next jerk session came around, I started with the tranny section. I poured over pages of videos, but nothing seemed good enough. So, I went back to my usual, and haven't looked back since. TLDR, I jerked off to tranny pee. I'm pretty sure my family would not take it well if they knew I was agnostic, even though most of them don't go to church anyways. Oh, the hypocrisy, it burns. And so will you, heretic. My job consists of basically masking my contempt for the buttholes in charge, and, at least once a day, retiring to the men's room so I can jerk off while I fantasize about a life that doesn't so closely resemble heck. I am heavily into drugs of all kinds, but opiates are my drug of choice. I've learned to balance my life to the point where I can hold down a full-time job. I refuse to show up to work a mess, or call off sick due to drugs. One day I met a great girl and we really hit it off. When the topic of drugs came up, I decided to test the waters by telling her I smoked pot. She freaked out and said if our relationship were to continue I had to quit. Eventually she won the battle and I said I'd quit. That was 3 years ago. I don't get to party as much as I used to, but anytime I have free time away from work and the girlfriend, I'm doing whatever I can get my hands on. Be it H, coke, pain pills, etc. I got a few strategically placed tattoos so she will never see any track marks. I really never thought I would get away with it for this long. Life is a constant lie. I masturbate approximately 13 times every day, but it's not normal masturbation. It's weird blanket masturbation that works somehow. I've been masturbating like that since I was 4. I have a slight pee fetish. I don't like pee at all, but fricking with a full bladder is awesome. I can have orgasms during the day. I'll be sitting normally doing nothing particularly erotic and I'll have orgasms. I have to change my underwear all the time because it's always wet. I'm bi, which I'll never actually tell anyone. I'm perfectly fine with staying in the closet forever. I have lied to everyone about my previous freaking experiences. Nobody knows the truth. Saving the best for last. I have been dealing with schizophrenia for my entire life, and absolutely no one knows about it. I'm terrified of taking medication or going to therapy. Objects talk to me and the air is evil sometimes. My body works against me and I often see small things that aren't there. Bugs, eyes. This is freaking interesting. Okay, I'm only doing this because I need to get this off my chest. Last week I had a feeling my girlfriend was cheating on me, so I called her out on it. Of course, she denied it and this caused a rift in our relationship, so we're not talking right now. 2 days ago I called up a girl I knew who does massages on the side. I asked her to come over. She gave me a massage and I told her I'd give her $150 bucks to suck my dong. She said she doesn't like sucking dong but she let me frick her. So I did for a couple of hours. I felt sick to my stomach. I've never done that before. And the only reason I did is because I had a feeling my GF was cheating on me. I'm such a freaking insecure loser. Nobody knows, but I pee in the sink at home and sometimes at people's houses. I can't be bothered to make the effort of getting my dong out and aiming at the bowl, then potentially pee all over the seat and having to wipe it up. If I pee in the sink, I can't possibly miss. Then I turn on the water and bam, down it goes. I'd do it at work too if I could. Damn it. My plates, my bowls, my cups, burn it all. I sometimes vividly think about my girlfriend fricking other men and it turns me on. Her best friend also tried to suck my dong, and I kept my mouth shut about it so that they can remain friends. I was raised in a very religious Muslim house, but at age 13 I started thinking about it and in a couple years I decided I didn't believe in it anymore, making me agnostic, I guess. I hate labeling. Now my mom fully supported my decision and agreed that it was my own life to do with it as I please, and life didn't really change in the house. If I told this to my dad or friends, however, my life is over. It freaking sucks having to go to a mosque whenever someone I know is around and prayer time comes and it turns into "aren't you going to pray?" I can't wait till I'm done with high school so I can meet new people as my real self. I realize my story's a bit tame, but meh, contributin' is contributin'. Every day I wake up I think that there is about a 30% chance that I might kill myself that day. I am 18 years old and almost failed out of college last year. I am just too ashamed to talk to anyone about any of it. The sick thing is that all of my friends and family think I am the happiest guy in the world and have everything figured out, or am at least slightly on top of my game. I hate being loved by anyone, that includes my family members and friends, because I know that at some point I am going to kill myself and I don't want them to be hurt. Most of the time I could care less about what others think, but for some reason anyone finding out about my depression cripples me with fear. I kind of need to rant. It's extremely hard for me to make new friends because I'm an introverted and shy person. I can't seem to make myself gather up the courage to talk to new people when my heart starts beating like crazy and blood rushes to my face. Any type of confrontation makes me nervous. After the initial getting to know phase, I open up pretty easily. When I started college, I was confronted by some Christians going out to spread the word. I thought, might as well school myself on Christianity and see what it's all about, right? So I started going to Bible studies. Then I started going to home meetings, dinner with other Christian students' families to blend. And then I started going to church. I now had a whole bunch of friendly acquaintances in the new college environment, where I essentially didn't have any close friends to hang out with since my best friends went to different schools. Then I was baptized. I don't know why I agreed and went along with everything. I assume it was the sense of camaraderie, of having people I could talk to, of not being lonely, and of peer pressure that made me go along with everything. Everyone I've met so far in relation to the church are nice. They're genuinely friendly and I like that. But I feel like they're taking advantage of my weakness in order to convert me. They think they've succeeded, but in fact, they've pushed me away. It's been 2 years since the initial contact. I kept an open mind. I tried to see that Jesus is Lord, but I just couldn't. Jesus is not my Lord, and I am not a Christian, nor will I ever be. It's like, I don't know, a paradox of some sort. I told one person within the church about my feelings, and she told me, you just need to open up your heart, call on the name of the Lord, and you will see that he is Lord. If can't reach him, then your heart isn't open and you need to open it up. Damn it, woman. My heart is open, but it's just not happening. The more I learn, the more I know Christianity is not for me, and I can't get out because I don't know how. I know it sounds like I have no backbone, but it's not because of that. Church members make up about 80% of the people I know. I assume it's almost the same kind of feeling gay people have when they want to come out to their family. Just can't do it. I only need to go along with it for 1 more year. Then I'll graduate, head home, and hopefully never hear from them again. TLDR. I started meeting with Christian students to learn what Christianity was about, and I let them believe they successfully converted me. I've been baptized. I'm going to church. I feel like a stain when I stand amongst people who truly believe in Jesus. Church members make up about 80% of the people I know in school. Without them, I'd be forever alone. I don't know how to get out and will go along with them for another year until I finish school and head home 350 miles away, If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.